Hey guys, what's going on? Happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of Artifact Artist Spotlight Spaces. I'm going to make this short because we have two incredible geniuses up on stage. Both, I'm pretty sure, are either from the future or not from this planet at all. But we'll see if they confirm any of those allegations. Yeah, so we have lots to cover. We're talking Unreal Engine, VRMs, AI, and all about the experimental passion project PendingReality is currently working on, called Bunshin Industries, helping people make their digital assets and identities truly their own. And we're so happy to have Meta Mike back on here as well. Can't think of a better or more knowledgeable guest, to be honest. And of course, our boy Cass is here too. So quick hellos to everybody. And then we'll start by getting to know PendingReality's background a little bit. So hi, guys.
What's good?
Hey.
Oh my God, Cass.
Yeah. All I was going to say is that it's confirmed that they're definitely not real humans. These were the aliens and possible people that lady on the airplane was talking about. But it's okay. We'll dive into it.
How's everyone going today?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a Friday. I got no complaints. But Pending, can you give us the background? I feel like I actually don't even know.
Yeah,
I've talked to you quite a bit. So, what's the story behind how you got into 3D, Unreal, etc.?
Yeah. Thank you. First of all, thank you guys for having me. It's really dope to be able to share, my journey and like to be able to talk about this. I actually started with Unreal Engine maybe 2.5 years ago ish. I originally, before that, I was doing consulting in the video game industry. I'm based in Tokyo, Japan. I was working at Square Enix at the time, and I was the lead for tech integration, middleware tech. So, a big project like Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, they'd be like, hey, we need global illumination. Maybe we need physics. A good tool that we could use? And we'd go to Havoc and other guys. So I was very much not a dev, but ingrained in what are the best tools that teams can make to license so that they can accelerate their development. And I think that a lot of that carried over with me being a solo dev on this Bunshin project. Originally, I was just trying to make a VTuber tool. And then the metaverse, NFTs, blockchain happened. And a big motivator of me making this was my experience at Square Enix. We were making a cool game that got canceled, but it was a truly a user-generated content, crowdsourced kind of approach to game development that was never done in Japan. And I was butthurt about it, but that inspired me after seeing NFTs to think this is the key that we needed back then to say, how can we gather the creative input from a lot of other people, share revenues with other people, and try to find some kind of balance towards moving away from a capital heavy approach to game dev and bringing it back to a grassroots approach to making something awesome together. But yeah, it's kind of a vague thing, but that's kind of what's a really driving force behind Bunshin Industries for me.
Okay, see, it's just so difficult to know where to start from. I want to do like a quick intro for everybody on what Bunshin Industries actually is. So, an Eli 5, explain like I'm 5. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the current state, Bunshin Industries is two pieces of utility. So one is that you could just bring your VRM, which is a file format for an avatar, and it can load in a VRM. You could do motion capture with it. So anything from, if you have a Rococo motion capture suit, a webcam, even just an iPhone with a gaming PC, you'd be good to go. The other part to it, which is a very early implementation of it, is to be able to embody your VRM, your avatar character, with an AI and have a conversation with it. I see Cam is in here. he did a super dope demo of using an AI to embody his clone and just have a conversation with it as an AI. But yeah, there's a lot more coming down the line, and a lot of that is built around, when I was getting started with Unreal Engine, it was just like banging my head against the wall every day. It's like, I don't understand this. I don't understand this. Blueprints, logic, what the hell, right? And the tool I wanted to provide was be like, hey, I've solved all those problems. Here's like a game interface that you could use. Bring in your converted clone as a VRM and just get started with motion capture. If you just have a webcam and a PC, whether you have an iPhone and a PC, or if you got the money to spend on a Rococo hardware, you want to go for higher fidelity, renders, you don't have to do the whole pre-render thing, and just being able to just capture your screen like you're, recording gameplay and then just edit it later. That's kind of a big philosophy around Bushi Industries right now. Sorry for what.
No, I think this is the coolest part, because when you see the difference in what you have built as just like a solo dev versus what's out there as like free platforms, I think it's like scary. And I tagged some of the stuff from creators that have worked with you and who have been jumping in and using it. But we gotta ask, how long did it take for you to kind of get this like first build up and running?
It took a long while. Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. It took a long while because it was a really roundabout process. For me to get to the point of saying, hey, I'm going to just stick to a VTuber build, I was building out a whole entire game that I wanted. But one of the things where the reality sets in, where I'm a solo dev and trying to make this massive game, and I'm like, well, okay, slow down. And I figured I need to break it down into like, what's the immediate thing that I could provide that would allow people to express themselves easier. And it was, the VTuber tools, because I knew that pretty well. And then just in good timing, the AI stuff started coming out and made it really easy for me to provide that as a utility. During that journey, what was really cool that allowed me to connect with the clone community was MetaMike, and coming across a HackMD, this kind of blog write-up he had about how to convert a CloneX to a VRM. And that completely changed the direction of my development, to say, wow, I can tap into a whole entire community and actually provide them something of value from day one, as a free tool, as by using a VRM as a standard. And MetaMike, we're both part of the M3 community, and he has done some great stuff with writing a lot of documentation for devs like me to like make it easier for us to dev and think about the metaverse and how we think about the metaverse and interoperability.
Yeah, MetaMike, we got to hear some of these, because I know you're one of those people right there with Pending. I literally don't understand how you do some of the stuff you do, but it's amazing to have you here hanging out with us and helping build. So what's the thoughts there?
No, firstly, thanks for having me, and really to be up here with Pending's huge. I mean, I noticed the talent extremely early on, and I was just like, holy crap! I just gotta pay attention to what's happening here. So it's awesome to be on this stage together. But yeah, I mean, I think both Pending and I's interests overlap a lot. He mentioned that I do some documentation, which is on my HackMD primarily, but some other spaces as well. But like I've always been interested in motion capture, kind of focus on more of the cheap, easy, iPhone only type approaches, very much interested in VRMs, very much interested in Unreal Engine and game engines in general. And then finally, the AI component that we'll get into in a bit. But, we've obviously had a huge amount of talk about the metaverse over the last couple of years, and really a lot of these different technologies have been highlighted individually, whether it's blockchain, whether it's avatars, whether it's virtual worlds, whether it's artificial intelligence. And it's always kind of been my belief that these all need to come together in order for us to truly see what the potential of the metaverse is. And I think we're getting a lot closer. We're still looking at things in terms of these silos, but within a very short period of time, we're just discussing, it could even be a couple of months, but we'll really see what this looks like when it is all tied together, and when there is an easy enough user interface for everyone to be able to experience this and understand what it's like. There needs to be that ChatGPT moment for that technology. It may take some time to come together, but when all of this comes together and there is that easy to onboard user experience, I think we'll kind of be getting closer to that North Star that we've all been discussing over the years.
When I first started noticing VRMs being used was when Code Miko was, she was all over the internet. She's like a technician, streamer, and she's like revolutionizing the digital space. And then Blue Xanadu, I don't know if you guys are familiar with him as well. He's incredible. He does some ridiculous things. And then there's Teflon Sega, who is a musical artist in the NFT space. There's so many now, but back then it was just like these few. And I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. And then the clones came about, and I was like, okay, this is all coming together now. And then when I got into the space, I was like, wow, this is so overwhelming. There is so many different factors, different elements that come into play. And as somebody who had zero knowledge in 3D, it was just a bit too much. But now I'm seeing people like you guys creating all of these tutorials and tools, and it's becoming more and more accessible. But what would you guys say is some of the first few steps that people need to take in order to start doing that themselves?
So on my end, I absolutely agree. There's so many different ways to embody your character. There's so many ways to animate your character. There's so many different tools to use. It is stupid how many options there are. And then when you want to ask someone, hey, what's the best one? Everyone has a different opinion, right? And so like one of the things I wanted to do with Bunxing was just to be like, okay, if I'm going to be making a tool for the clone community, how do I make it as simple as possible while retaining the high fidelity that you have in the original 2D PFPs, right? Because those are pre-rendered. Those are from like, I don't know, Blender or something, and someone spent a good amount of time rendering to get the light perfect. And I was like, okay, now how do I take that and bring it into real time like they're just playing a game with the minimal amount of hardware possible? And so if you're a clone, my suggestion, this is probably based, but I actually, it really is the simplest way is just to use Bunxing, because you get real-time ray tracing, you have all of the light reflections working off, especially like, okay, my personal favorite type of clone is the robo clones, especially when you have that nice metallic skin. It looks so good when you have a ray trace scene. But yeah, but when it comes to different types of avatars, you have metahumans who are hyper realistic. You have VRMs, the anime ones that are very cartoonish. There's so many different options, but the first one would be which avatar or which character do you want to embody? I think is probably the answer I would go with.
Yeah, one thing I want to chime in for people listening who might not spend much time in Unreal, if you are familiar with Blender, how there's different render settings like cycles and EV. What Pending is talking about with ray tracing is some of the more like detailed render settings that you can set up. And unlike Blender, Unreal has a lot more specifications, and so you can get lost in the weeds real quick. And so I like the way that they have set things up to where a lot of these really cool like cinematic features are already enabled for you, and you don't have to like dig through YouTube videos to click on one button to figure out that's what make shadows look better. You know, like it's really crazy, but sometimes it's like the one button fix, and you guys are providing a lot of those one button fixes in just one game. Because I think one cool thing that I noticed when I launched it is that it's really set up like a game. There's a loading and a start screen. You're not like pulling up a whole like Unreal Engine page. It's just actually like you're starting a video game, and then you can throw your clone in and start having fun with it. But let me, I just went into shill mode. I didn't even ask a question.
No, on that note, there is stuff coming that is beyond the realm of just being a creator tool. There's the whole story I want to tell, and a bunch of other stories that I also want to tell with people in the community. And that's the thing that I'm super excited about. And then being able to use the tool for people to share videos, share content that we've all made together, and to start building stories out of it, whether that's a video or whether that's actual gameplay. But that's the dream. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just kind of want to chip in because like I have tried every single VTuber platform that supports VRM, and there's a lot of options out there. There are a ton of options. Bunshin, I don't have any stake apart from wanting to see it be as successful as I know it can be, but it is the easiest onboarding experience that currently exists to get the type of, interactivity that I guess most starter VTubers would want out of a platform. Not to mention that it's also the best looking. And I can tell you that because of the market research that I have put in and the Pending has put in as well. But yeah, as far as ease of use goes, there has not been an experience with the quality of output that I have had that's on par with Bunshin. So huge credit for Pending to be able to achieve that.
Yeah, big facts. And you have some credits throughout the Bunshin platform. Is there any people that you wanted to highlight?
Yeah. Like a lot of that is just it is part of the journey of me even getting to like the path that I went. Because at the beginning I was just kind of meandering through, do I want to make a metaverse? Do I want to make a game? And then when it came to how do I provide an immediate tool that people can start using and really start collaboratively creating cool stuff together, it was, it was MetaMike. MetaMike being able to provide, there's this thing called VRMs and you can convert clones to VRMs. So I'm like, okay, that's a huge jumping point. CamX came in and started being the first power user of the tool and just introduced me to a bunch of cool people in the space that we had. He invited me to like the clone events over in Tokyo. I had too much fun. And then just the whole M3, the Metaverse Makers crew that both MetaMike and I are part of, just crazy hackers, experimenters in pushing forward the idea of what the metaverse should be, an open source platform where people can be creative freely without the constraints of platforms, which has been something we've kind of become accustomed to accept. And just the people in there have been insane. And in providing knowledge, support and a lot of people in the early adopters in the CloneX community as well. I see Yobs is also in here as well. And being able to just riff off of assets of other projects as well and just say, hey, can I add your stuff and make it look dope? And everyone's been so supportive and I have no words. It's an awesome community is all I can say.
Man, I think it's the same for us because quick story on how I met PendingReality. I think it was just like a random day. I was just in the Discord, like just sitting there talking to, I think maybe one or two other people, and he jumped in and he said it was 3 a.m. this time. He was doing some dev work, wanted to show us something. And I was like, okay, let's see it. And man, I was not mentally prepared. And I think it's like, it's the beauty of where we're at. There's a lot of people here who are here for what is like the future. And you guys, you and MetaMike are obviously like the people building it. So it's like double hats off to you guys, because without y'all or other types like the M3 group, we're not going to have that interoperable, crazy AI, semi-human real future. But I think it's a good time to start asking people in the crowd if they want to jump up and ask questions. But I do have a good question just to kind of start some of this. You know, when we hear a lot about AI and like the current state of, you know, it's coming, like the wave of AI is here, yada yada yada. What do you guys think it's going to be for, you know, this metaverse world building environment that you're in? I know you guys have a few applications already in the works, but I just love to hear like the general thoughts.
Yeah, I'm just gonna jump in on that one. I think like the amount of stuff that PendingReality has done thus far, I mean, it goes in line with what he's developing with Bunshin. But I think there's like 50 different routes that we could take this conversation. So want to make sure that we start at level 1 before getting to jumping right to level 10. So I mean, I think maybe it makes sense, Pending, for you to kind of run through what you've developed to date for the interaction in Bunshin and how that comes across in like a live stream environment, or what you can kind of do within the app, or just starting out there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, because I was about to go off in some weird simulation stuff. So the current version of Bunshin and Cam has a great demonstration of this. So it's built around this tool called In-World AI. So In-World AI is a startup that was backed by the Disney Accelerator program. They've done work with Star Wars and Disney franchise and stuff like that. What they basically did was tap into ChatGPT. They did a lot of work around it. It's super simple. You just log into the platform, right? You just like write a description for a character you have in mind. Like, oh, hey, I want to have, you know, a cyborg character who's and you just write that, and it'll populate its personality with like based on like maybe a few sentences, even one sentence. And then once you make your brain, the current version that's out now, you could just copy paste a few things like API keys or whatnot. It's really simple. It's like 5 times copy pasting. Once you're done, you load in your VRM, and you'll be able to have conversations with it and like actually see that few sentences that you put into an AI come alive, talk to you with voice and everything. And it's animated automatically through the VRMs that you bring over to Bunshin.
And just quickly, before you continue, sorry to jump in. I don't know how to add posts to spaces, but I posted on my account, because I know that you've been sharing some stuff, but I posted a video of that a couple of days ago. If you're able to share something up there, or tell me how to do it.
Oh wait, what is it?
Is it
the Twitch stream the other day?
I was gonna also link the Twitch stream below. Yep, I think I found it. Okay,
cool.
There we go.
Thanks.
Oh yeah, that's the next stage. So what's coming down the pipe for the next version, and what I've been prototyping so far, is taking it. I wanted to start experimenting with how far I could take a VRM and how far I could take a VRM, test it myself so that I could start programming that into the app so that you could do it without all of the headaches that I dealt with. So I actually have an AI working, so it is a main character and then a sidekick drone, and they're reacting to Twitch chat. So if you eventually in the next version in Boomshin, if you're able to get your VRM in, and you'll be able to create a Twitch channel with your chat reacting to the AI, and then when the chat actually calms down or gets idle, the two AIs in that scene that you've set up will be able to start having a conversation with each other about anything. I've set my in-world AI up so that they actually talk about philosophy and the meaning of life and existence. But I just wanted to the whole purpose of that was just to start testing how far can I take this technology with what I have. And then once I've learned what the lessons are and fix all the bugs, I can start baking that into stuff that you could start using, whether that's your CloneX, whether that's your other VRMs that you have, and literally start making like an entertainment without you even being involved. Yeah.
Can I just take it back a little bit? Because I'm really intrigued about the lore that you're building. Where does that come in? And can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the lore for Bunshing is a big kind of manifesto of mine about where I think a lot of things happening now is headed, where AI is going, how it's going to drastically impact our lives if left unchecked, where uh, the consumerism and segregation of like ideologies is going to go in an extreme situation. This is still far down the pipe, but originally when I was making the game, it was a future dystopian setting of Shin Tokyo, which is a future Tokyo that is underwater 70 meters because of all the glaciers have melted. And there's a megatropolis in the Neo Shinjuku area. And in the Bay Area is the slums. And I hope to get this content out, at least the teaser, in the near future, but it's an exploration of what that future might look like when AI, the whole singularity has happened, what it means to live day to day and survive, while also kind of incorporating some of the creators in this space and kind of like folding them into the narrative.
Oh no, I was muted. That sounds so cool. And I've seen some teasers of some things. But that's not my place to say anything, guys. You just have to pay attention, I guess. Turn your notifications on for Pending Reality. The space is open, so if you guys want to come up and ask any questions, please do feel free to do so. I just wanted to say thank you to both of you for putting so much time and effort into doing like the hardest parts on behalf of / for the rest of us to be able to benefit from the research, the testing, demonstrations, and on top of all of that, creating tutorials and guides, and then an actual tool to make it all so much more accessible for all of us to use. It's because of you guys revolutionizing and innovating that this space gets to move forward, especially at the pace that it does. So thank you, but you don't make it easy for us to keep up, but you certainly do ignite the inspiration and enthusiasm by showing us the possibilities. So thank you for that.
That's very much appreciated commentary, and I think like it leads to a good point, and point that can be boiled down to one word, and that's interoperability. I think for us that work on this type of stuff, we have the goal of being able to make this accessible as possible for as many people as possible, because we see the vision, we know where this can go. We surround ourselves with other people that have the same world perspective, but we want to make it so that everyone can participate, and those barriers to entry are still very, very high. I think really what PendingReality has done with Bunchen is kind of like one of the lowest barriers to entry of many examples that I have seen in the space, whether it's avatars, whether it's VTubing. Like it's a culmination of a lot of different technologies, and that they do exist, but they're so bloody hard to use that it really requires you to work to get it into a place. And I think our goal is just, for me, I focus more on the education side of things rather than the building side of things. Pending's obviously building like crazy, but we just want to make it as accessible to as many people as possible so that everyone can extract value from it. And I think this is really just the beginning. We're seeing a lot of signals in the market around where this might head next, where these 2D interactions that have AI included, like the Twitch stream in the video that was posted here. That's one side of things. Then you've got the virtual world side of things, where we've thrown parties for artifact holders and with their VRMs, and that's been fun. But those worlds haven't really intersected yet. There are market signals. If you want to look into it, OpenAI just bought a relatively small game development company called Global Illumination, where these worlds will intersect, and we will have what we describe as agents operating, agents like Pending has with the VTuber setup, operating in these virtual worlds. We'll be able to interact with us as NPCs, but the NPCs will also be able to interact with each other. And I think that's really where things will be going next. Of course, these different ideas are coming at us a million miles a second, and we're trying to stay abreast of everything. But I think that's really what's coming next. And I mean, Pending, I don't know if you want to talk about any of the future work that you've been doing, or what you kind of have planned to take things to the next level. But if you do, I'll let you chime in. You don't have to.
Yeah, no, I like even me, who is like constantly trying to keep up with all of this stuff. I think right now, if there's any way to explain it, is how like out of nowhere the iPhone came out and it just like completely changed the game. Like the crazy thing is right now, all of the disparate components to make the iPhone for like what would transform what you think about AI, like completely, hey, come home, hey, I want to watch a Simpsons episode, but I want it mixed with this narrative, bam, and it starts working. That's not that far away, and that's the scary thought of it. And it's not just content, but what if you were a creator and you could just use those agents and let them make content for you, or they're living their own lives within a world that you've built? I can't. It's too much. It's so close, and I'm actually in the middle of actually a hackathon right now that we're doing with Labs and Auto GPT. The things that people are cobbling together with little libraries that are all over, different companies, startups they're providing publicly. I don't know when it's going to be, but it's probably within the 6 to 1 year. It's going to transform what we think about interactive media. And it's scary, but it's super cool because we're going to have the ability to have cast members, characters, like animation systems. It's going to allow us to just take creativity to a completely different level. And that, I'm just glitching just thinking about it.
Yeah, you got me
Yeah,
glitching too. I was sorry, Mike. I'm gonna let you go first, actually.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I think that the part that is also one of those iPhone moments is that this becomes interactive in a virtual world space. Like we will be able to not only view this content but be part of this content, and not just watch this content but interact with this content. And I got to do a little shout out for Magic here. It's a AI development tool that I'm doing some platform that I'm doing some work with at the moment. So if you're interested in any of this stuff, please let me know and sign up for Magic, and we can try build these simulations and these agents together. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipe very quickly. So would love to work with as many of the clone community as possible to bring these realities and have clones be the ones leading the charge in a lot of these examples.
I just love that you've called me a NPC like 3 times, and I was like totally on board with it. I was like, I'll be an NPC, bro. That's cool. Yeah, like I get to be the NPC. They're the main character. I'm in real life, but they're in real. And then yeah, you start glitching out. But no, this is the fun part. Like I think you guys are. It's just like so cool. We've had so many different types of creators on these spaces that, you know, one week I feel like it's diving deep into design concepts, and now this is like world building to beyond the point where like we're really going to have those like philosophical questions about what's real and what's not. And yeah, I think it's just like super crazy. But I think pending one of the parts that I'd love to ask about, just so if people had questions on how to use your tools or knew what to do. I really respect how much time you put into the like the details and all of the docs that you set up for Bunchin. But if there's anything that people need, is you got any recommendations or tips for those out there that might want to jump in and start using it?
Yes, absolutely. And the one thing that's really important is the documentations is really specific to the Bunxing platform. So a reason being is because the Bunxing terminal build that's out now is very geared towards trying to achieve pre-render quality, like CG render quality in real time, right? And because of that, there's like a few tidbits that are, while you're doing the conversion, you have to be careful of. And so one thing I would recommend is if you go to bunxing.xyz, you could download the build, the latest one. There is a link for a YouTube with playlists for walkthroughs, documentation, how to convert your clone, how to get it working, how to change the background if you want to. And if you don't want to watch through the YouTube videos, I also have all the documentation that's up to date. You could follow it step by step, and it'll guide you through the whole conversion process. If you don't know, if you get lost part way, I've realized that there are some clones that might not have blend shapes, which is a certain type of data that kind of tells how your face or different parts of your face is supposed to move. If that does pop up, feel free to just drop into the Discord. The link is also up there with those other links as well. And then you could join the Discord and be like, hey, I don't know what the hell's going on. Don't worry, I got you. So, and then once you get your clone converted and in there, you can start playing around. If you don't know, just feel free to reach out to me. And the whole point of this is just to make it as frictionless as possible for you to just start making stuff with your clone. And then as we onboard more people and more creators, the dream is to just start actually telling stories together. So yeah, go ahead, take a look at those, read through the documentation, check out the YouTube videos. If something doesn't make sense, I would want to know, because I will go ahead and update everything just so I can fix that problem. Yeah. That's it in a nutshell.
I was gonna say, dude, the fact that you're putting together 4 YouTube tutorials plus all these docuseries after making a full-blown basically video game that is allowing clones to VTube. Like, I don't even want, like, it's just such a mouthful of how much crazy shit you have done. It's like, it's extremely impressive. So I'm hyped to see more people using your platform, and I'll be showing it for sure. But we got Yobs on stage. Yobs, what's going on? If anybody else wants to jump up and ask questions, feel free to join. But Yobs, let's go. What's going on?
What's going on? What's going on? Thanks for having me again, as usual. Obviously, I just had to come up here because I've had the pleasure of speaking with Pending quite a lot. He's absolutely legendary. Like, first of all, just wanted to say thanks for like coming in and obviously asking for like Clone Force files and like building them into like a Bunshin and things like that, and showing me all the things. And even as like a creator, right? I'm pretty, comfortable with like Blender, like do all of these things. It's still always like a daunting experience. I've always wanted to, get like the clone into, because like we watch Sobi do it. We watch a few people, they've like kind of converted their VRMs. Cam does it as well. And it's always like so cool to like see people doing the whole, body tracking, motion tracking, and really bringing their like clones to life. But every time I've tried to think about going and doing that myself, it's just felt like such a daunting task and like challenge to like try and get done, like try to set up all the things, trying to set up blend shapes or your face tracking and this and that. So it's really cool to see just like people building out tools and kits to make these like things super like, or as easy as possible for now at least, using all of these things that are like APIs and things that are available already from like the world, and just bringing it together and creating this like toolkit to make it easier for all of us. So like just a big shout out there. And I just wanted to I just had like one kind of question. When it comes to, like VTubing with your clone, for example, I still haven't like gone through the process of like uploading like the VRM of my clone into any sort of like platform. But would you say that you need like a motion capture suit? Do you need like finger tracking, or are there like programs out there that like make it, that barrier to entry completely go away in terms of like monetary, like money wise? Because obviously like the suits and stuff, they're like $2,000, $1,000. I think Cam even put up like
yeah
which is like $100 or something. So what's your like sort of advice there?
Yeah, so originally I had this thing called the Rococo suit. First of all, like, thanks. I freaking enjoyed all of our conversations talking about virtual production and the future of content creation. And like that's, I think, like one thing. I had an experience with Traveler back in the day, where he was doing his content, and we wanted to figure out, like, he didn't have a motion capture suit. He didn't have, like a Rococo suit or all that stuff. And I was like, okay, there are going to be users that don't have any hardware, no VR, no nothing at all. I was like, how do I make different layered levels of like, how hardcore somebody is, and build that into the app? And so at the lowest level is, as long as you have a gaming PC, with a graphics card, you got Bunshin installed, you have your VRM, then all you need is an iPhone, and you can basically do full facial expressions. Full facial expressions, and your character will like, lean forward, like lean side to side, and like, basically ready for any kind of podcasting kind of format. The level above that is if you have a webcam in an iPhone. The iPhone's really good at the facial tracking because it has a depth sensor built in. And the webcam, if you have a webcam, there's this app called XR Animator. It's a free open source tool that is built by this wizard from China. I don't know how the hell they do it, but they basically use all this like Google, like machine learning based motion detection stuff, just wizardry. Just giving it out for free, and it you can use that webcam to track your fingers, your full body, like the level of fidelity you could get from just tracking your figures right in front of your webcam is insane. And then I have a whole tutorial and a write-up on how to just send that data to Bunxing. So you got your iPhone to track your face, you got your hand, your upper body or full body with XR Animator, and you pipe it into Bunxing Industries, bam, you're good to go. The other thing that you can do is if you have a Rococo capture suit or if you have a Mocopi hardware, you could use this software from Rococo called Rococo Studio. And Rococo is a company that makes hardware, probably one of the more affordable, high quality motion capture suits out there. Because some of these suits get super expensive, super fast, like 10 grand kind of stuff. The Rococo one is like on the lower end of the spectrum of being like close to $2,000. But if you actually want reliable motion tracking, it's probably on the cheaper end of everything, and it's really good. So that one works as well. You just plug it in, the documentation there, you just tell it where to go, send it to Bunxing, bam, and that works. And you can use all of those. Across all versions, the iPhone is the one that tracks your face. And I'm looking into other options, but the thing is, the iPhone tracking is the best on the market. Android can't come close because they don't have a depth sensor on the front-facing camera. It's a game changer. The fact that that is included in the iPhone is pretty insane, because it's basically doing really complex stuff to track every little movement of your face and being able to relay it to your clone in real time. It's ridiculous. If you do convert your clone and put into Bunxing, one thing I would do is if you blow your cheeks out, right, like bubble them, or if you stick your tongue out, even those movements will actually like render in real time over to your character. It's insane.
That's absolutely crazy. I got one more question then. Can you teach us how to put blend shapes on the eyebrows so I can finally raise my eyebrows and look surprised?
Yeah, and I want to stick my tongue out too. My Snapchat filter is just so... She's just dead. She's not really alive.
Yeah, I have solutions for all this. Like today, Cass sent over his with his starry eyebrows, and I was like, oh no, these don't have blend shapes. So yeah, I just in a span of 2 hours, I fixed his jacket and sculpted his eyelash blend shapes for the starry eyelashes. And yeah, so if you have you have Robo, that's why you got the Robo ones. I love Robo ones. Don't worry, I got you. I already made them. I already made custom blend shapes for the Robo ones. We're good. Let's go. Let's go.
Superhero status right here, man. What a legend.
Yeah, this level of talent is ridiculous, because I sent him those files late, and I was like, I know this is way too late. I don't think he's gonna be able to get it done, and whipped it up real quick. But yeah, I'm excited to see more people inside your platform, especially as you continue to build it out. And I think the content creation stuff was what drew me to it, because we're talking about blend shapes. In Blender, you can animate the facial parts of the clone a little bit easier, but once you move them to Unreal at the moment, the files, those blend shapes don't really transfer. But geniuses like PendingReality, he's basically got the hack, and I was so amazed by it just from that one solve. And then I talked to him, and I'm like, all right, well, yeah, this is just one problem that I'm thinking of. He's solving 1,000 others. But yeah, it's gonna be really cool, because this could be one of those tools that really helps just genuine, don't know anything, don't really want to know anything, just want to make something really, 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 really cool. You could probably do it with this platform. So Yobs, I'm gonna be converting people to the House of Unreal. I've been telling a lot. It's just it's not fair. You can't compare Blender to it, because you break a computer just trying to even get graphics to look like that. And yeah, Unreal just does it nonstop, constantly. You can throw a bunch of stuff in there, and you'll still see the the full world like it's a beautiful video game. So hype. Well, we're coming up towards the end of the session. I appreciate, MetaMike, Pending, you guys jumping in. And obviously, once again, you guys just keep crushing the dev work and anything we can do to help out. If anybody wants to come up, ask some last questions, that'd be awesome. But I think Pending, one of the questions I'd like to ask you, since it could be a good way to round out where things are going, but what's the goal for what you're doing with Bunchen and where you're trying to take things as a builder?
Yeah, this might be so there's a few parts. One part is I just want to make the dream game experience that I would love to play for the rest of my life, with interactive agents, with like AI running around. Every apartment door you knock on, there's a story to be told, and it could be someone else that's in mocap mode. It could be some AI that's creating stories like generatively. But the other part is to prove if there's a business model that's possible, to give the tools for creative development without having them to know how to develop stuff, and populate a world together with a shared narrative, and just create something insane where not only we can make a game out of, but like linear media, like content, podcasts, storylines, and do it in a collaborative way, as opposed to saying, hi, I'm the game developer, here's the game. Like, sometimes maybe I want to just it's just a way for us to just kind of share the things we want to express, however they may be, and being able to just experience those different perspectives and stories that other people have made, and just experiment that and share it with the world.
Pending, you are dreamy, dude. You're like, it's almost like you're in my head speaking to my inner child. Like, what do you want? What do you need? And you're literally trying to create that. So anyway, talking about actually your inner child, or maybe you as, a child back in the day, what were your hobbies? And what was it that fascinated you so much and brought you into the world of like tech?
Oh God. I was one of those weird kids. Whenever a new game engine came out, or like a console came out, when the first time I saw like a racing game and the rain would hit the windshield and like kind of slowly slide across, I would literally stare at that thing for like 2 hours. Be like, oh my God, how the fuck did they make this? Sorry. So I think I'm one of those kind of highly geared towards how does someone with a limited amount of computational power do a beautiful representation of reality within their own interpretation of it. That I don't know if that's kind of a weird hobby to have, but
It's okay, dude. I think one of the first times I realized that I like to dissect problems was when I took apart a clock because I wanted to figure out how it worked. Never put the clock back together. Ruined that that clock for myself. But yeah, I think rain on windshields is a very like beautiful look, and I think I literally saw some 3D artist that I follow posted something the other day, and it was an effect that I looked at and I was like, shit, that looks so good. But I think it's a good point though, Pending. You started early on as like being attuned with all of this stuff, and you said you worked in like the corporate world, kind of being on like the sort of technical side, but not fully. How did you end up really diving in and getting all these skills? Because I think we didn't even really cover that. You just big brain, just have it all in the head already.
yeah, no. Because originally, I used to be in like the compliance and risk industry, very kind of boring back office, tax, compliance, legal, that kind of stuff. And they threw me into middle management. I hated that. It was human resource management. It's the worst thing. But then I was like, what am I actually interested in? It was, graphic like just graphics. How are these people making these beautiful things of expression with these little computers that are sitting on like my desk or in front of my TV? And then that drove me to go work at Square Enix and just see these super talented people make crazy things. But then I also realized the large large bureaucracy of big video game publishers is an antithesis to people like us that just want to make cool stuff together, and being able to, like, let's say, hey, maybe we can monetize this together. Maybe there's a way for us to make creative content that we can all like equally share in, you know, the whether that's the revenue or whatever. Being able to do it with licensing stuff from IP or content that we've grown up loving, and being able to make a business model that we can actually riff off of those and remix those without worrying about getting slapped with a DMCA strike and that's kind of a real kind of my journey towards going in this direction. And I guess my background of having that experience in the video game industry and also my previous compliance background, I think the biggest issue right now with NFTs, IP, and big IP holders like the original game developers and publishers and movie rights holders is we need to find a balance between permissionless creativity and a way for them to still get their bread. Because merging those, I think, is the way that we might have the opportunity to work with really cool IP that we grew up on and say, hey, community, we trust you. We're comfortable with the legal model that these guys provide. Why don't you guys make some cool stuff of this, and out of the best ones, we'll make something cool and merchandise it, and actually officially back it. Like, that is an end state dream that would be amazing. It's our creativity is molded by the things that we've loved and we grew up on, right? And that's molded who we are and what kind of aesthetic appeals that we like. I feel if there's any way for us to officially be able to like create a pipeline for us to do not only just us, but like with the stuff we grew up, I feel like, get out of here. Yeah. Sorry, I think I might have gotten completely sidetracked, but yeah.
No, that's a beautiful answer, man. Because I think that's the best part. I feel like some people, we're all like meant to find our own paths, whatever route that may be. And the fact that you came from I'm not very much of a quote unquote artist to now like you're going to be one of these people helping build out the future of metaverses is like it's a crazy story. And I mean, I still don't even grasp how you accomplished all of that, because there's a lot of hours that have to go into getting from not doing anything to be able to script in AIs the biggest game engine in the world. So I mean, hats off to you, man. That's all.
Hey, Pending, do you play any video games?
I used to more, especially with getting into dev. I've played less, but I do still pop into Fortnite every once in a while to test the UEFN systems, but I think that's less playing and actually evaluating the platform.
That is so funny. You just don't switch off. That's what I was going to ask. Like, do you and MetaMike, you're both working on passion projects, right? You are doing things that you actually love and you want to learn more about. But how do you switch off? How do you do things for you? What do you do?
MetaMike, what do you do?
You guys are struggling so hard.
I spend time with my family, of course. I've got my 2-year-old here with me, so spending time with her obviously is key. I'm not a big gamer either, but I gotta tell you, I love vibing out with a couple of games of 2K or Madden. Like, I don't play games, but I play 2K and Madden and FIFA. That's just what gets me switched off and just in my vibe state. So yeah.
Great answer. Bonus points for their baby sounds.
Yeah, just press the button for
That
that
was
one.
so cute. Pending, you got an answer for us now, or?
Yeah, I think I'm very much like on or off. Either I'm obsessively just building and researching, or I have the opportunity for people like Cam to stop by Tokyo, and then I take him out for a night, and then possibly regret the amount of alcohol I drank the day before.
Perfect balance.
Yeah, I bet those were like the best brainstorm sessions though. 4 a.m. in Tokyo with
Oh yeah,
Cam.
no, yeah. Great. Probably had great ideas. We probably forgot about 70% of them.
That's so funny. You need to attach
I,
a GoPro to your head next time, okay? Record the whole thing for us to watch and also for you to go back and analyze over.
actually, that makes me think about we should just have our own clone version of like Drunk History, but you have to use a Bunchen and just progressively take shots. Or I can't promote actually like alcohol poisoning in Artifact Creators thing. So never mind. Don't do that. But you can use this and alcohol responsibly. Oh man.
I've got a
Well,
question.
I'm excited.
Sorry, I've got a question. In terms of onboarding people, both of you, MetaMike and Pending Reality, what do you think are the steps that we can take, or how is it just going to come about naturally for people to be more interested and actually put some time aside and start learning to do all of the stuff?
I would say just get a VRM, whatever it is. There's ways to get them. You can build your own. Obviously, if you've got a CloneX, fantastic. There's a lot of tutorials across the community, including my own, that can help you get to that spot. And obviously, Beb's Clone Tools allows you to do that. But even if you don't own a clone, there's so many other collections that have VRMs now that it's 100% worthwhile getting them and then playing with them and using them on all of the different platforms you can. On my HackMD, which I don't think I have linked anywhere, but just look up It's MetaMike in HackMD. That I've got various tutorials of different games, virtual worlds, VTuber applications, AR, VR applications that you can bring VRMs into. But like once you kind of get hooked on VRM, it makes it a lot easier to want to test out different things. So that's my first step.
Yeah, and another thing is if you really want to get into the weeds, and if you're interested in like, how these files are set up, like where the space is going, where, like let's say where you want to get a preview of where the metaverse is headed, I would definitely recommend you check out the Metaverse Makers. It is an amazing crew of talented people looking to explore open source approaches to creating the metaverse, where your data is yours and that is interoperable to freely move between different platforms. Some of the craziest people that have built platforms like Hyperfy, a solo dev, is part of that crew. It is insane the amount of technical talent that is in there. There's some weird people. I mean, me included. But if you want to really delve into the technical side, it's a beautiful place.
We love weird people. Is Jin Dank VR in there as well?
Yeah, he's the leader of the crew. Yeah.
Okay, now it's all making sense. Okay, gotcha. Right.
Yes, and I would also recommend ensuring that you are following Jin and read everything that Jin puts out. That is one way to stay abreast if you don't want to join another Discord, but I do recommend that as well.
Yeah, when I first came across Jin, I was like, yo, this person knows everything about everything, and like they're in the past and the future at the same time. And I was so tempted to scroll back all the way to the beginning of his like existence on Twitter to try and figure out how he got to where he is. But you know what? Maybe we just have to invite him up on Spaces one day. So might as well just ask the man himself. Cass, do you have anything else? Do you wanna?
Oh, I was literally started scrolling through Jen's Twitter because I was like, let me double check, and I was following them, and now I remember why. But yeah,
The history of the crew is fascinating. They've recently been doing an article about writing up a kind of a post about the history of metaverse associations, like ragtag group of professionals, technical professionals, and hackers that are trying to define what is the future of the metaverse. And they actually did a review, and all of the old school guys, they're all disbanded. And for what we actually identified, M3 is one of the oldest guys that have been in the game that have just been doing like open source research, dev, experimentation, trying to work with other parties in the space across VR and whatever. It's unbelievable the dedication that they have. It's insane. I've only really jumped into that crew in the past year or so. MetaMike's been longer, but Jen, he goes way back before VR was a thing.
crazy. That's why it's gonna be soon enough. It's gonna be all of us very fully immersed, and then there will be the old heads in the room talking about back in the day when you had to connect a wallet to get your avatar to show up in a world, or you had to go and hand make VRMs or agents, etc. I mean, God, people won't even know. Hopefully, people won't even know like the technical names for file systems at that point. They're just chilling, having fun with these video games. But I think this is the part where we get to ask Pending if there's any like last bits of wisdom he wants to leave us with. I know you dropped a lot of like just intellectual bombshells and got my brain rattling, but definitely anything you want to leave the people with on this great day would be appreciated.
Oh God, I'm not good at these things. I would say if you have a personal lesson that I've learned for the longest time, I didn't delve into just really going ham with the creative side, even though I knew I freaking loved every part of it. If you have that burn in you, and if something's been holding you back because of like, oh, the technical, or it's a little complicated, the hardware's expensive, just get started. Like it. Trust me, once you get into that vibe of making something and you're like, dude, this is so cool, and I made it, just embrace that 10-year-old self inside you. Just like let it go ham and just let it consume you. That's my advice.
Vibes. That's a bar. Fairy is literally shell shocked. Her 10-year-old self don't even know what to say.
I was getting the music ready because last time I flopped so hard. Yeah, I'm just so excited, and I can see people that are listening in. Most people are either like clued up on how all of this stuff works. They have a 3D asset, so everyone here is basically ready to go. So make sure you're following PendingReality and MetaMike to get all the best advice. And MetaMike, do you have anything else that you want to say before we close up?
No, I don't think so. I think it's all being covered. I would just, I mean, the only thing I'd say is that as much as it sounds hyperbolic, I think this is, this year, maybe some parts of last couple of years, but the next few years are going to be a time of a lot of change as far as how technology gets integrated within our lives, the way that we interact with things. I just think we're kind of at that turning point where especially on the artificial intelligence side of things, where it's going to impact our lives. We've seen glimpses of this previously. We see a lot of people being onboarded by ChatGPT, but this is day zero out of a a very long timeline that's going to continue growing at an exponential pace. So it's an interesting moment in history, at least for me. I think just staying abreast of everything that's going on so that you are prepared for everything that is about to come is something that I would recommend people putting in time to do. That is all, though.
Perfectly said. So thankful for both of you for giving your time and coming up on here and sharing your knowledge with everybody. I'm so excited to see how Brunshin is gonna develop and onboard everybody, and everyone's gonna be digital. A quick shill of Artifacts Town Hall Spaces hosted by Cass in about 45 minutes-ish. So don't go playing Fortnite. We'll see you there. And that's it, I guess. Have a lovely weekend, guys, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye. You all have to say bye.
Thank you so much. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.
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 Thanks.
Go download Bunchin on Unreal. Go make some dope shit.